Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton and I'm a paper crafter and an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. So today I'd like to show you how to make this beautiful card. It's with butterflies. It's mostly with the Butterfly Gala suite of products. I first saw this on Pinterest. Hilary Wright had posted a picture of this. I've made it a little bit simpler. So although it's quite a simple card to make, this particular version, it's still very, very effective. So I'd like to show you how to make this card. So first of all, you need a piece of A4 Whisper White card. Cut it in half, so use just one of the halves, which is an A5 size, and then score it in half to become an A6 card. So that becomes your card base. And then we have the Gala DSP. So this is currently available, but it won't be carrying over to the June catalogue that's coming out. So as of May the 6th, this is still available, and it's a beautiful set of paper actually. It comes in the 5 lovely colours here, and it's got the small squares and it's also got the larger squares. So this is a firm favourite of mine at the moment. And then we are going to use a couple of stamp sets. So we have the Butterfly Gala stamp set, which is what we're going to make the actual butterflies out of. And then we have the Beauty Abounds stamp set, which we're going to use this lovely flower flourish. And then to cut out the butterflies, we're going to use this lovely punch, which is the Butterfly Duet punch. And then to make this little sentiment here, I'm going to use the Layering Ovals lovely scalloped edged die here for that. And also, I don't know if you can pick up in the picture, but we've got a little bit of glitter on there, so we're going to use the lovely Wink of Stella pen. And to do the colouring in, we're going to use the Balmy Blue Stamping Blends pens. Okay, so we have our card base already ready. So this is the next layer, which is going to be the Balmy Blue Gingham Gala paper, and I've already marked it. So we're going to create the little opening aperture. So I've done a mark here, which is 4.5 centimetres down from the top edge, and it's 5.5 centimetres in from the right edge. And then we're going to cut a line down to this right edge, and that's 10 centimetres down from the top right corner. Okay, so you're just going to have to line it up on your edge. So I can see that I've got my little cross there, and I've got my 10 centimetre one marked here. So I'm just going to get my cutting blade to the bottom, and I'm just going to cut up to there. You don't have to be too accurate on this because it's going to be your opening aperture. Okay, so then we've got our cut slice there. What I've then done is marked up from the cut line 2.5 centimetres up to a line here, and right down in the bottom corner another mark, and this is what we're going to score. So I'm just going to take my cutting blade out of the way because I always cut instead of score. So again, I'm going to use this major centre point here, and I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use this 2.5 centimetres up from the cutting line, and I'm going to score a line there. And then again, using the centre point up here and lining it up with the bottom corner edge, I'm going to score up again. That out of the way. Okay, so hopefully you can see now I've got my cut line, and then I've got 2 edges here that I can fold, so I can now get rid of all my pencil marks. Okay, and then you can just fold your score lines, and then that will become your little aperture. Okay, this obviously overhangs here, so we're just going to snip that piece off very simply like that. So that gets that all nice and lined up there. Okay, so we're not going to adhere this top layer yet to the bottom layer because we want to make this beautiful pattern underneath. So what we will do to help us though is if we line up the top layer where we think we want to have it, and then we're going to just use my pencil if I can find it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that aperture just as a guideline so I know where I'm going to stamp. So I've just created that little visual area there. So I have my stamp ready, which is the stamp that I'm going to use, and I'm going to do this in the Balmy Blue to match the gingham Gala paper that I've chosen, but you could easily do this in any of the colourways. Okay, now you can do it either way. I tend to do it with the pointed edge at the bottom just because it looks like a nice finish as opposed to the bigger side, but you could do either. Okay, and it doesn't matter if you go over this edge because it's going to be covered by the DSP. So because I've got the cling mount, I can see the nice design here, so I can line it up within my pencil marks that I've done. And I'm just going to press on nicely, and there I've got my nice stamped image. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a little minute. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make our butterflies. So we're going to get some more A4 or a whisper white card. Let me just close this one up a minute so I don't dry out. And there are many different butterfly sets actually you can choose from the Butterfly Gala. There's lots of different designs. I've chosen this one just because it's one of my favourites at the moment. And what you can do is you can actually stamp it in Memento, the Tuxedo Black, or you can stamp it in the Smokey Slate colour grey, which I'm going to use. Because it's, so on this yellow one you can see that I've used the grey. It's just a little bit more subtle, and I think if you're using the paler sort of more baby colours, then I think the grey looks better. I think sometimes the black can look a bit heavy. So we're going to ink up the butterfly, so this will create the butterfly edge. Okay. And then what I suggest you do is, what we're going to do is we're going to use the punch to punch these out. But what I suggest you do is colour them in when they're actually on a bigger piece of paper. It's just a little less fiddly to get hold of. But what we must also do is on these, I shouldn't close that. On these butterflies, you also need to make sure you stamp the middle part of the butterfly. So we're just going to do our little. It's just to finish it off. And then on the little baby one, we're going to do the same. So we've just got our little centre sections. And then using these Balmy Blues, now I've got the darker shade and the lighter shade. I'm going to use the lighter shade and I might accent it with the darker. So I'm going to use the nice paintbrush part of it. It just makes it so nice and fluid. Okay, so I've got the little one there. You can get quite a good quick coverage on these pens as well. It doesn't actually matter on these if you actually go over the grey outline either. On the black, even on the black edging, even less so. Okay, So what I might do now is just use the darker blue. What you can just do is just do a little bit on the inside, and then again use the lighter one, and just use that just to spread it out, and it just gives it quite a nice two-tone effect. And it just sort of evens out the tones between the two. Okay, so there we have our two butterflies, and then we're going to use our butterfly duet stamp. So hopefully you can see that you can punch both of these, so they're both on one stamp and they both punch with one punch. So what I recommend is you stamp them close to a bottom edge of a card, and then you can slide it in very nicely into the punch. Okay, so you just want to try and line it up as evenly as you can. There you go, and they both flick out there. Okay, and then we have our two butterflies. Okay, so now we have our stamped image. This is nice and dry. I'm going to again rub out the pencil lines. You shouldn't see them because the edges of the top layer are going to go over it anyway, but it's just nice to make sure everything's cleaned away, and I didn't want to do that when the ink was still wet in case it's smudged. So what we're going to do now is use our lovely Wink of Stella little glitter pen. I might just give it a little squeeze to get some more glitter out, and then I'm just going to go over all the little flowers and leaves. And it just adds a little glossy accent, which is just really nice when it peeps out from the bottom layer of the card. And again, you don't have to be too careful on this, in going out inside the lines or not. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm hoping that that picks up if I change that at different angles. Hopefully you can see that's just a really subtle glitter. Okay, so now we can start assembling. Actually, first of all, let's make our sentiment, and then we can assemble everything at the same time. So I'm going to use, from the Butterfly Gala, I'm going to use a little note, which I've already got here, and I'm going to stamp it onto this piece of card. And again, I'm going to use the slate grey just to stay in line with the grey that I've used for the edge of the butterflies. So I'm just going to put that about here, so I've got enough space, because I'm going to cut this out with the layering oval framelit. Okay, I'm just going to snip this edge off, just so that it'll fit into the Bigshot. Okay, and then we've got the Bigshot here. Is that going to fit in? Just about. Let me just snip a few of those edges off. Okay, so I've got my layering oval, which I'm going to put on there, and I'm going to put my top layer on, and I'm just going to put that through, and there I have my little sentiment already cut out for me. So I think I have all my elements are now ready to go. So I'm going to glue my top layer on, and I'm using double-sided adhesive, double-sided tape for this. So I'm just I just find it a lot easier to use a tape pen, and then I tend to just eyeball where I roughly think it's going to be centered. Which I think is about there. Okay, and then you can see this lovely detail peeping through. And then I'm going to also stick on my sentiment. And this little gap here. And then I'm going to use some sticky pads. So dimensionals are Stampin' Up's little stamping foam pads. So we're going to put those on there. Now these aren't foam dimensionals, as you may tell, but I wanted something a little bit bigger for this. So that's going to be our little butterfly here. And then I'm going to do a little stood up butterfly just to go above the sentiment, just to finish it off there. Okay. Just taking the protective sides of the sticky pads, and then I can just place that one there, and then we've still got this opener, and then I'm just going to do the same for the small butterfly, and then I'm just going to place that one there, and I'm just going to alternate the angle really, just to add a bit of interest. And it just fills up a little bit of a gap as well there. So there we have this beautiful butterfly card. What I did with the yellow one that you saw originally is I also used the Wink of Stella actually to colour in the butterfly, so you can see a slight sheen on there as well, which you could do. Because it's blue on this one, I think I'll leave this one plain. But there we have the two colourways that I've done this card in. I hope you've enjoyed it. My name's Amanda Skelton, as I've said. You can find me on Facebook at Amanda's Crafted Cards. You can also find me on the Stampin' Up website at amandascraftedcards.stampingup.net, where you can find all the products. And as I said, all these products are current, with the exception of all of these elements will be carried over to the new catalogue, which will be available on the 4th of June 2019. The Gingham Gala DSP is currently available, but it is going to not be carried over in the new catalogue, so if you like this, then I definitely would look to buy it sooner rather than later. Thank you again for watching. I hope it's helped you, and I hope it's given you inspiration. I've certainly enjoyed making these cards, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.